Here we are, guys.
Wow.
Welcome back.
That's crazy.
To He Calls Me Friend.
It's been a little while.
It has been. It's been a couple weeks. We hope everybody's been good.
Yeah.
We're just going to talk about the church today. Ekklesia is a good topic that I know, Blake, you've been wanting to dive into.
Yeah.
And so we're really just going to dive in on what really it's another identity thing. That's one thing that God kind of spoke to me on. It's just like, it's because you think of church, we'll get into it. I don't want to spoil anything, but it really like one thing that really spoke to me, like doing this yesterday and just kind of studying it and honestly asking God, like, what should I say? It was just like identity.
That's good.
Because as we'll get in, as you'll start for us, it really is about identity.
It is.
Yeah.
So, it really is.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was reading through some of your stuff and I was like, oh my, this would be all right.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes. So I'll let Blake start us off.
Yeah,
Get
for sure.
kicking.
So obviously, like Brendan said, we're going to be talking about the Ekklesia. And so we're going to go through and sort of lay our foundation like we normally do.
Yeah. And before we do that, I just want to say too, why is this a topic that you really wanted to bring out? Before we get into that foundation, like why is this something you're like, because this is something God spoke to you, it's like, this needs to be said.
No,
like,
absolutely.
So before we get to foundation, I just want to hear from what God has said to you.
Yeah. So I think in a lot of ways in this revival that we are going into, it's a return to like the original intention of the way things should be.
Yeah.
I feel like in a lot of ways, church has become just this thing that we go to, like this country club that we go to on Sundays where we hear a message and just kind of do our 3 worship songs message and then go home.
Yep.
When in reality, what the Lord called the church, the Ekklesia, there was a whole different connotation with what he was communicating to those people. That whenever we read those things, we have a completely different thought of what he was saying versus the people that he was speaking to at the time.
Yes. Yeah.
So what we're going to do today is go through and give some context of what he was talking about whenever he said, on this rock, I will build my Ekklesia.
Yes, sir.
So in Matthew 16, the Lord takes Peter and the apostles to Caesarea Philippi.
Yep.
And this region contained many temples to the gods of Baal and Pan, and where a lot of pagan rituals would take place, including human sacrifice and a lot of other like things that probably shouldn't be mentioned.
Just bad.
And what's relevant here is that in the midst of these temples was a large cavern that was believed to be the gateway to Hades, which was hell. And it was called the gates of hell.
Yeah.
And so what happens is the Lord takes the disciples there and is essentially standing in front of what is the gate of hell. And in Matthew 16:18, he says, "And I tell you that you are Peter." He's talking to Simon. This was the moment where he renamed Peter to the name Peter. He says, "And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it." So this is one of the most important verses that the Lord gives us in terms of who we are and who our identity is as the body of Christ on the earth. And it's very important that we understand that whenever he says, on this rock I will build my church, that there's something there that was lost in translation. Because we have this idea of what church is supposed to be when he's not communicating something that's a religious term. It was a governmental term.
Yeah, 100%.
It had nothing to do with religion. If he was wanting to use a religious term, he would have said, on this rock I will build my synagogue. And they would have understood the context
that is so true.
What he was saying. But he wasn't saying, on this rock I will build my synagogue. On this rock I will build my Ekklesia.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Because he would have used something that they already can register.
Right.
But it was something brand new in a way. Like, yes and no.
Brand new in the sense of he's establishing a kingdom here.
Yeah.
But it's not the kingdom that they necessarily thought that he was going to be establishing.
Yep. Because he established that in the Old Testament. With like Moses, he's like, I called you high priests, like rulers among the nations. And so it's very similar, but also different.
Right. And this became the fulfillment of those things, where not only at that time you have a chosen group of people that are kings and priests, it becomes an entire body of people that can be from that people group or not.
Yeah.
Now everyone together can be a part of this body and act as the Ekklesia in the earth.
Yeah.
And so
I love it.
just to break down what Ekklesia is and what Jesus was saying that he will build, what he was saying when he said that he would build his Ekklesia and that the gates of hell would not prevail against it. So the word Ekklesia is a Greek term called that means called out assembly, or those called out from among. Mm-hmm. And it comes from 2 parts. The first part being ek, which means out of, and kaleo, meaning to call. And it wasn't a building or a Sunday meeting. It means people who are called out with a purpose. Mm-hmm. It was literally an organization, not a physical place.
Yeah.
In ancient Greece, the Ekklesia was a governing assembly of citizens. They gathered to decide, legislate, and rule on behalf of the city-state. So when Jesus used that word, his followers understood the government. It was talking about governmental authority, mm-hmm. not necessarily religious, like a religious gathering.
Yeah.
So before it was ever used in a religious sense, the Ekklesia was a Greek political term, particularly in Athens and other Greek city-states, describing an assembly of citizens who were called out from their homes to gather and make decisions let me restate this. Got a little too excited there.
He was ready to keep going.
So before it was ever used in a religious sense, the Ekklesia was a Greek political term that was often used in Athens and other Greek city-states, describing an assembly of citizens who were called out from their homes to gather and make decisions regarding the governance of the city. So in ancient Athens, the Ekklesia was a principal assembly of the polis, which was another word for city-state. It consisted of male citizens over 18 years old, and they met regularly to vote on laws and decrees, decide on issues of war and peace, elect magistrates and hold them accountable, and conduct trials in some cases.
Dude, I mean, like now, all right, so before you keep going, because I mean, just so that people can kind of like process what you just said, it's like, again, to that identity thing, it's like, dude, everything is just... It's not like you just said, like a fun little place just to gather.
Right.
It's like authority.
Yeah. We are here to make a decision. We are here to carry things out that benefit the society that we live in.
Yes. And to be like, to show what's being culturized as normal, like this is the way to do things. God's actually called us to come into those areas and like reroute like how it's being directed.
Yes.
I really do think of like the Chosen theme, you know, when they take the little fish and it goes counter current. Like it really is that where it's like wherever God's called you to be, he's called you to take in that environment. And not only that, what I love too, the government part is very important because we love to go, well, church and government, you know, those are separate. And and if you read it from Old Testament, and what God's saying here, it's like, no, they're actually one and the same.
Yes.
Like they're actually the same.
Right.
And I've called you, it's not just to have a great area to worship me, but whatever a place is being used, and if it's for evil, you're called to actually take that ground and reverse it for good.
Yeah. So when Jesus said, oh, don't worry, I'll get there. But when Jesus said the gates of hell will not prevail against the church, what is a gate there for? A gate is there to defend what's within.
Yeah.
And so if the gates are not prevailing against something, it's because there's something from the outside breaking through those gates.
Yeah. That is good.
We'll get into that some more.
And that's very similar to us, though. Yeah. So if there's a gate of hell, though, and there's this boundary that looks like hell, what does he call us to do? Break open that gate and change it up.
Yeah. And then we're going to go in and we're going to set the people free that are bound within those places.
And then it won't be a gate of hell no more.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fire, dude.
So one of the things about the Greek ecclesias was attendance was expected, not optional.
Oh, really?
You had to attend.
Really?
Yes. Citizens were sometimes fined for absence, as the assembly was seen as a duty of citizenship.
Wow, dude.
Yes. The ecclesia represented direct democracy. It was a mechanism by which citizens governed together, taking responsibility for the welfare and direction of their community. So when Jesus said in Matthew 16:18, I will build my ecclesia, his disciples wouldn't have thought a religious building or even a religious organization. They would have thought a governing body of citizens called out to legislate and lead in society.
I love that because it's true. So if you think of senators and House of Representatives and all that stuff, it's like if they decide not to be there, you know, on hearings or whatever it is, they're not doing their job.
Right.
So, because even when I was thinking that, I'm like, bro, these people are getting fined for not like attending like church.
Yeah.
What? But it's like, no, it's not that. It's like, no, this is our job. This is our duty. And it's not a burden. It's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is our job.
Yeah.
Like, we got to take it seriously.
There's an expectation.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
There's an expectation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So good, Blake. So good.
Oh, yeah. So in the New Testament, ekklesia is used 114 times, usually translated as church. And again, like we talked about, its meaning is not a building.
Yeah.
It refers to the people of God who are called out from the world system to operate under the kingdom rule of Christ.
Yeah.
And so even with the early church, the way things would work is you usually would only have groups of like 10 or 20 people.
It's true.
And once they got to a certain point, your leaders would go off to like their house.
Yep.
And they would host 10 or 20 people. And then things would just build from there. It was not just one place that like we go to once a week and like we kind of do our thing. It was an everyday act of participation in God's kingdom.
Yeah.
And every day getting together and saying, okay, Lord, what is your idea for this area that we are in?
Yeah.
How can we take dominion for the kingdom in this place?
Yeah.
And because they thought that way, there was persecution that happened.
Yeah. That's so true. Because think about it, especially if a government, so think of like, I just think of Rome.
Right.
Think of something trying to oppose Rome.
Right.
What are they going to do? Shut it down.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to oppose what we're doing.
Right.
We're cutting you off.
They tried their best.
Yeah, they tried their best.
Like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Christians being killed left and right. But what they found was all that happened was it just kept multiplying.
Yeah. Kind of like what we've seen already when we talked about Charlie Kirk, where it's like that made it multiply. It really is funny, like with the word, like how God has used death, a lot, especially like you think of Christ, his death, to multiply the faith.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously with him resurrecting makes it, you know, the true faith, incredible. But it's just good to know too. It's like, and I think too, when you have the perspective of like why God's called us to do this, it's for bringing his kingdom come, your will be done.
Yeah.
You know, on earth as it is in heaven.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what we're called to do, is bring heaven down to earth.
Right.
And so if we're striving for that, bringing it down, there's going to be opposition towards that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
exactly. And so some examples of where it's used in the New Testament are obviously Matthew 16:18, where Jesus says, I will build my ekklesia. And whenever he's saying that, he's speaking of forming a governing kingdom assembly empowered to enact his will on earth.
yeah.
That's why later on he says, all power on heaven and earth has been given to me, therefore you go.
Bro, I've been watching Smallville a lot lately. I'm like, but I really be thinking like, bro, it's the Justice League. It's the Avengers.
Yeah.
It's like, it really is, bro. It's the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
The homies. It's like,
Right.
what are they doing? They're called to take in those areas that are messy and dirty.
Yeah.
Change it up for good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly.
I know that was corny and cheesy.
So,
I'm just
it's
good.
It's good.
The zone.
It fits. And then Acts 19, 32, 39, and 41, the term ekklesia is used of a secular city assembly in Ephesus, showing its civic roots. And then again in Ephesians 1, 22 through 23, Paul says Christ is head over all things to the ekklesia. And he was just sort of saying that in the context of the ekklesia is not passive. It's a body exercising Christ's authority in the earth.
Yes. And that's kind of where I wanted to pop in, because we're really driving in home of the church, how we've called it just like it's a place to meet and meet other Christians and praise the Lord, which is like yes and no.
That's like one aspect.
Exactly.
Of it. That's like if you have 10 parts to what the church is, that's like the first part.
Exactly. And so I think what's really important is reading. So I looked up the definition, and which Blake did an amazing job explaining this, by the way. What an amazing, like,
thank you. I try.
What's so good though about this is like, you really do need a history lesson.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you don't know the root, the beginning of actually what the word means, it's like, you're lost.
There's a spider.
Oh my gosh.
There's a spider.
Okay, so before that interruption with the little dangling spider, we should have kept the Spider-Man head up, Blake. But anyway, it's good to know just the meaning of what's actually being said, which is why the Hebrew is so important, the Greek, like how you showed the Ekklesia, like how important that is. So I always like to make it really just simple.
Yeah.
So I looked up church, just the Google definition.
Yeah.
Which is a building used for public Christian worship. Which, when you read that, of course, like that sounds great. Now here's Ekklesia, and this was in Bible Hub. It's a called out assembly of citizens. Very key word there, citizens, which means it's its own state, like it's its own country.
Yeah.
So think about that in Ekklesia. It's like when you're under Christ, it's true because you're made new. It's like, and that's what you operate under in. That's its own world dominion.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And then these are some of the other reasons. Definition. The community of the redeemed of Christ, whether being on earth or in heaven or both. So when I was reading that, I'm like, bro, the power in that.
Yeah.
So again, of like bringing heaven down to earth. What I love is like when we think of church, we just think of building on this earth.
Yeah.
When God says Ekklesia, he's talking about the believers, the body, citizens, a group of people taking over areas for his kingdom.
Yeah.
But not only that, it's not just a thing that's used on earth, it's a thing used in heaven as well.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, you're just like, okay, the power now, because think about it, both of those words are very similar. I mean, church and ecclesia, like church is used to showcase ecclesia. But when you read the definition, it completely different.
Right.
Not even close to the same.
Yeah.
Like not even close.
Exactly.
Because there's so much more with ecclesia. And then it says too, this is in parentheses, it says, used only of people, not a location structure of Christ. Used only of the redeemed, not of the unredeemed in the midst. So again, called to the believers.
Yeah.
But I think what really I just want to dive home is just the importance of like the words you say and understanding meaning, especially when the word, and which we'll like dive in, I just want to showcase is just like, especially when you see a lot like in the Old Testament or with Peter, it's like he changed his name. Why? Why did he change his name? We looked at Simon's old name, which I'll get into, completely different to Peter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Jacob to Israel, completely different. And so we'll dive into that because it's really important, your words. And so I love one of these verses too. This is in Genesis verse 1 to 26 and 30. It's just like when God speaks something, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I was reading this in Genesis, and I love it. And it says this, then God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over the livestock and over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So again, identity. What does God do? He tells you. And he like showcase you very explicitly who you are.
Yeah.
And what I love too, it's like, I didn't even notice this too. Dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens. So it's like, again, I just think of like, God's called us dominion in heaven and earth.
Yeah.
Like we get to bring that down while we're here on earth. Then here's verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over every living creature that moves on the earth. And God said, behold, I've given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You should have them for food, and to every beast of the earth and to every bird of the heavens, to do everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has breath of life. I've given every green plant of food, and it was so. So what I love is, I know that was like a lot, but it's just like when God says it, when he changes like who you are, or like you think of Peter too. What I love too, in that moment, it's like, that's Peter's lowest moment.
Yeah.
Think about it. He just, with his mouth, denounced Christ, said, I don't know this man. I had no part with him. You know, and they even say like cursed, like any acceptance to this. But I just wanted to dive in home again of just like the words, the power, because it's like, then when you think of it, it's like, especially in Genesis, it's like how he created us, he spoke it. And then again with Peter, when he changed his name, he spoke it.
Yeah.
And it changes his complete outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just by what God has called your identity. So why is that important? Because the identity that we put on church is not the identity that God has actually called it to be.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we've honestly dumbed it down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We've made it like, it's just a place we get to meet.
Right.
And God's like, no. And I think of this verse, which will kind of go into your government part.
Yeah.
But I just want to read this. This is Judges 21 through 2. And it says, then all the people of Israel came out, the congregation met in the presence of God at Mizpah. They're all there from Dan to Beersheba as one person. The leaders of all the people representing all the tribes of Israel took their places in the gathering of God's people. There were 400 divisions of sword-wielding infantry. So, yes, like it's completely different now from Old Testament and New Testament, but it's like kind of like how God has showed us, like, it's in Ephesians, right? Ephesians 3, put on the full armor of God.
Yeah,
Ephesians 3.
I think so.
And you think about it, it's like back in the day, Old Testament, which it still is now, it's like we're a governing body, but we're warriors in that body.
Yeah.
They had 400 division of sword-wielding infantry. You know what I'm saying? And this is the division, this is the tribes of Israel.
Yeah.
So the 12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah.
So there's thousands of these people.
Yeah.
And it's a governmental body. And they're called to be countercultural to whatever is being, that the enemy is using.
Well, and the places that they're going into.
Yeah. So I just want to say that before, because I know now you're going to dive into.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the Ekklesia of government, as in like what it's called us to do, which is just so much more. And I just want to compare. I know I talked a lot about that, but just compare the words. I'm like, it's completely different.
Yeah,
like it's not even close.
And I think you have a great point in talking about identity, because it's like you said, it's not something that, and we'll get more into that, but it's not something that you participate in like once a week or whatever. It's how you live your life every single day.
Let my boy in. You keep going.
So in both the Greek and the biblical sense, the Ekklesia carried governmental authority. It was a ruling assembly, not merely a gathering for worship. Members were expected to deliberate, make decisions, and represent their ruler or city. And when Jesus applied this to his followers, saying, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven, in Matthew 16:19 and Matthew 18:18, the binding and loosing here that he's talking about were also legal or governmental terms in rabbinic and civic law, denoting the power to permit or forbid. So right there, he's prescribing whatever you say is not permitted and whatever you say is permitted. I've given you that authority. Yeah. As my ecclesia in the earth.
Yeah, and that's why I want to bring up that judges thing is like he's called us to be a lot more than just like I hope we're not just bashing church. Like church is great.
Right.
Like it is good to worship the Lord.
Yes.
With people that believe in the Lord.
Yes.
But it's not just a thing that's like we just do once.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like no, it is I think what really helps too is just like what you said, where it's like it was back in the day where it was just like people in your area, 10 to 20, and if it got too big, that person would take a group and make it. Yeah. It really is go and make disciples of all nations.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's like, it's
no, exactly.
It's so fire.
And it goes back to what we were talking about of what we see of Christianity now is a reduction of the way things are really supposed to be.
Exactly.
So us talking about our mandate is to bring heaven to earth.
That's right.
The reduction of that is, well, you just go to heaven when you die. Yes, that's awesome. That's amazing.
That is so true.
But that's your entry level to Christianity.
Yeah.
Now what's your responsibility as a Christian on top of that? Mm-hmm. I have that to look forward to down the line. And if anything, that's my comfort of I get to go be with him when I'm persecuted and I die or whatever the circumstance is.
Yeah.
But it's like, let's not just leave things at level one right here. Yeah. Let's go from glory to glory to glory and really understand what is our mandate here as the people of God.
Yes. Fire, Steph, my goodness.
Come on now. Let's go. Go Jesus. Let's see. So Jesus' ecclesia is his kingdom assembly vested with authority to legislate spiritually in alignment with heaven. Mm-hmm. That should be our entire focus.
Yep. Heaven on earth, baby.
So with all of this said, what does this mean for us? Mm-hmm. How does this affect us and what does it require of us, most importantly? For the Greek ecclesia, the same that Jesus was referencing, the expectations were the following. Show up. Participation was mandatory.
Yep.
Passive spectatorship was unthinkable.
Yeah, that's good.
Passive spectatorship was unthinkable for the ecclesia.
So powerful, dude.
So let's apply this to today.
Yeah.
What does passive spectatorship look like? Mm-hmm. Only going to church once a week, kind of doing your little Jesus thing, and then not thinking about it for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Not even not pursuing your relationship with the Lord, not having a thought of what can I do to
Mm-hmm.
expand his kingdom today, even if it's one little thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't say that as part of guilt, shame, condemnation in any way,
No.
shape, or form. But I say that of, what have we talked about? We need to raise the standard.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be better,
Yeah.
do better.
Yeah, and this shouldn't be a thing like you said where it's like it beats you down. You're like, oh, I haven't done that. I haven't
Right.
done that. It's like, no, it's like, it's more of a, oh, wow, I didn't realize it was that. That's what it is changing the perspective, because now you go, oh, God's called me to do it. See, because it's different. All this has come from God's mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, it's a thing, honestly, that the enemy's twisted and changed because he wants to think that we don't have authority and power.
Yes.
When God's like,
Right.
I always think of the verse of Moses when he's like, when the Israelites, the fire's down, it's separating the Egyptians from the Israelites, and he's like, Lord, what do we do? And he's like, why are you coming to me?
Yeah, why are you asking me? I already told you what to do.
The 12 plagues. You have the staff. Go to that steed and go do it.
Right.
Like, what I love is like, he was kind of like,
Yeah. What are you
Go
asking
do
me?
it.
Right. Go do it.
You know what to do.
I told you you're going
Exactly.
across.
Exactly.
Go do it.
Exactly.
Right? You know. And so back to the expectations. First expectation was show up.
Mm-hmm.
Second expectation was to engage and speak. Citizens could voice opinions, propose decrees, and everyone would vote.
Bro, and that's, again, I do want to drive that home. It is such a lie when people go like, church shouldn't get involved in government. Like, that is such a lie.
Right.
Because it's the reality is if we don't get involved in government,
Right.
who will?
The entire old
Anything good?
Right. The entire Old Testament is a testimony of what happens whenever the believers do not get involved.
And what has happened?
Right.
Death and destruction.
Exactly.
It's not a good thing. No.
Number
Fire,
3
Lord.
is take responsibility. Each member was accountable for the state's direction.
So fire.
And lastly, represent the king. Their
that's
actions
so good.
reflected the authority that they served. So for us today as the Ekklesia, there are many verses that point to our function, one of the most important being Matthew 5:13-16, which says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden."
Pause real quick. I just want to say this. A city that is set on a hill. Another very important thing. A city is a governmental body.
Yeah.
Keep going. Sorry.
Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all those who are in the house. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven.
Amen, dude. It's all for the Lord.
So, talking about salt and light, talking about us being salt and light, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So in that day, salt was extremely valuable. It acted as a preservative, it added flavor and vitality to foods, and it cleansed things that it came into contact with. In the Old Testament, in Leviticus 2:13, it says that all offerings were to include salt because it represented purity and incorruptibility.
Dude, again, so what is that? Again, it's back to the identity thing.
Yeah.
It's like when God says you're the salt of the earth, you know, it's like, it's not just a thing to preserve meat, but like you said, it was so highly valued.
Yes.
Which means God's saying, I so highly value you.
Right.
Now
Exactly.
go do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
And then in regard to light, what does light do? It illuminates darkness, exposes things that are hidden, and changes the view of an environment.
That's so good, bro.
So when Jesus called us the salt of the earth and the light of the world, he was saying, you are preservers of truth and righteousness. You are influencers who bring out the goodness of God in the world. You are covenant bearers, loyal to God in a world full of compromise. You are necessary for the kingdoms, for the world's health and survival, and you must remain distinct. Otherwise, you lose your power to transform.
And bro, and that part, it really is chills because it really comes back to when you said in the verse, you know, where does it say? Speaking of blue jay, that is a blue jay.
There you go.
Oh yeah, represent the king or state. So when you lose your saltiness, look at it this way: you're not representing Christ no more.
Right.
Like,
Right.
that's what the reality of that verse is.
And like we talk about all the time, what happens whenever you lose your saltiness? You are good for nothing but to be trampled by men.
And think about it: if you serve the world, you serve man.
Right.
So it's not a coincidence that the Lord says that. So
Right.
it's very powerful to know like what God's called you to be, but also when you don't, what that looks like. And the reality is the biggest thing. It's like we've talked about too. This is what it should be. It shouldn't be anything that scares you or beats you down. This should
Right.
motivate you and go, it's that thing we talked about with heaven and hell. You know, when it's like, hell is a scary place, not because it's gnashing of teeth and it's awful, like creepy, which yes, it is. God's not there.
Right.
That's why it's scary.
Yeah.
Like there's no way to access the Lord. That's terrifying.
Right.
And so it's that same thing here. It's like, are we going to be the light of the King, or are we going to choose to just be the world?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's
Exactly.
what the Lord is saying right here. You know what I'm saying? So, sorry, keep going.
So as part of the Ekklesia, there is an expectation that we fully submit to him and his ways, knowing that his ways of doing things are not ours. 2, are intentional about how we set an example for those around us. And 3, step into every situation that the Lord sends us and expect transformation in those circumstances. Our focus while we are here is based on the prayer that Jesus gave us. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Praise the Lord.
Right. As representatives of the kingdom here, it's our duty that we walk in the authority and the position that Jesus purchased for us.
Yes.
Otherwise, his sacrifice was for nothing.
Yep.
And for those of you who are listening, this should be on the forefront of your mind every day. I'm not trying to put pressure on anybody. I'm not saying if you don't do something, you suck. But what I'm saying is we need to be focused on what is one thing that I can do to get closer to the Lord today.
Yep.
What's one thing that I can do to impact somebody today?
Yep.
What's one thing that I can do to increase my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding so that I can make an impact?
Yeah, and think of it this way too. It doesn't mean like we always look at big picture. I always do. I do this a lot where it's like, I got to go do this. I got to go preach in the streets. It's like, okay, there's a job that you have that I don't have.
Right.
That Blake doesn't have. You know what I'm saying? That my family doesn't have.
Yeah.
That you get to speak out. Or maybe just by your works, like it says to glorify your Father.
Yes.
It's just like, just by how you live,
Yes.
someone's going to go, you're different and good, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come up and ask. So don't put pressure of like, I need to go do all these things.
Right.
You know, I need to go be a preacher. It's like, maybe you're a basketball coach right now. It's like,
yeah. How can I be a light for those kids?
That's it.
How can I be a light for those parents?
Because if you think of Jesus when he started out, it started out with his disciples,
Right.
Little groups of people, and he didn't want anybody to know about it.
Right.
And then as time goes on, people just found out about it. Why? Because this man was flipping the world upside down.
Right.
And they're like, okay.
Right.
And there's goodness too. It's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. So yeah, make it simple. That's all I just
Yes,
want to say is
absolutely.
make it simple.
Make it simple.
Don't over like stress yourself of like, I need to do all these things. It's like, God could just be like, bro, just go do your job.
And it goes back to what you just said. We all have a different sphere of influence.
Yes.
That always comes with, a different area of society that we are a part of with our job. Let's say we all have different people that we are around.
Yeah.
Different families that we're around.
Yeah.
That we're a part of. What's one thing that I can do that I don't necessarily have to say anything to anybody? I don't necessarily have to do anything. But it's me walking in that identity of I'm part of the Ekklesia. I know Jesus. I'm spending time with Jesus. I'm taking this thing seriously.
Yep.
I'm taking ownership of this for myself.
Yep.
And so that other people can look at that and be like, oh, wow, that
Exactly.
person's different. It goes back to what we were talking about with Proverbs of like how someone's righteousness and wisdom is an example for someone else.
Yes.
To look at and say, this person's different. I want to know what's different about this person.
Yes. And that's what I love is like, because sometimes I do this a lot where I'm like, I need to say this. I need to talk to someone about Jesus. And it's like, I'm not saying those things are great. If God tells you to do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like God literally might say like, just go be you.
Yeah.
Go be your joyful self. Go work hard at your job. And by like your work, your fruit, people will notice it.
Yeah.
Whether they believe or not, people will notice it.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll be like, there's something different about that
Yeah.
person. And then they'll ask the question. They'll actually come up to you and be like,
Yeah.
why are you so happy all the time?
Right.
And it's like,
Exactly.
well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I'm definitely not somebody that's like,
I know.
I need to just be like, you need to know Jesus. You need to know.
Like, Jesus is coming.
Yeah, Brendan's
Complete opposite.
Brendan's running down the street, and I'm watching him. No, I mean it's. I've just seen by the example that I've set. Not to say I'm just like this amazing guy, but by the example that I've set, I've seen how people can be impacted by that, and it's super inspiring for me, and it makes me want to continue to get to know the Lord better because I know that example that you set for people has influence.
Mm-hmm.
For you, you've seen how, going to people and telling them about Jesus and all that different stuff, how that makes an impact on them.
Yeah.
And so each of us has a different way that we can approach this.
Yep.
That's true to who we are. That
Yes.
doesn't mean that I'm not ever going to, go tell people about Jesus or whatever. Doesn't mean that you're not going to be an example, but we each have our own strengths.
Exactly.
That is the way the Lord built us. And we need to understand the identity of that, and walk in it.
And then realize too, one's not better than the other. That is the one big thing, because we do that a lot where it's like, man, this person's so, it's like, we're all just people. We're a body of Christ, and God's given us all a part in it.
Yeah.
And whatever that part is, it's great no matter what it is.
Right.
It doesn't have to be, I'm this pastor at this mega church or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not saying anything's wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, God can do anything through anything.
Yeah.
Don't limit what he can do.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he's called you, if it's whatever, you're at your job, you're an accountant.
Yeah.
God's called you to be an accountant.
Yeah. Crunch those numbers for Jesus.
And to change that environment in that area. So
exactly.
So yeah, all I want to do now, just to end it off from what you just said, this for me, it all comes down to identity. What are you saying over yourself, and what are you believing? Because what God's called us to be as a church is not just a place to worship him, it's to change the environment and the atmosphere of wherever you're at.
Yeah.
And he's giving you authority to do that. So perfect example is like, again, where it's like, don't beat yourself across the head. It's like, think about this. Jesus called Peter to be the rock of the church. This is where I'm going to build my church. It's literally going to be on your faith, Peter.
Yeah.
After he literally just denounced Jesus, he ran away. He was back to doing his old Simon self. He was fishing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He went back to his old identity. And what does Jesus do? He doesn't condemn him. He goes, no, I've called you this. And this is what you're going to be. And so I just think of the verse because it's so fire. Luke 10:19-20. Behold, I've given you authority to tread upon serpents and scorpions and upon all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall injure you in any way. Yet do not rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven. So again, it comes back to that thing. When you believe, you're like, yes, I'm a believer. I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
But also what I love too, and that's what we rejoice in. It is that I will spend eternity with my best friend, my father. But what's so clear too, it says, and I know it says not to rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you. Think it again, power and authority that God's given you.
Yeah.
Here's another verse. This is Romans 5:18-19. Again, we talked about this one a lot. Identity. We're not sinners no more. We're righteous.
Yeah.
Why is this important? So this is Romans 5:18-19. So then, even as by one transgression condemnation came unto all men, in the same way also by the one act of righteousness shall justification of life come unto all men. For even as by the disobedience of one man many were made sinners, in the same way also by obedience of one man shall many be made righteous. Why is this important? Because whatever your past is not who you are, who God's called you to be.
Yeah.
Perfect examples. Then I was diving into like when God changed people's names in the Bible. This one really just spoke to me. Jacob. This is the meaning of Jacob. Subplanter, deceiver, he cheats. God changes his name to Israel, one who struggles with God. And I even find that interesting. I was like, one who struggles with God. But I'm like, think about it, Israel. I'm like, the Lord loves us and does struggle with us with like decisions that we make. Like you see that in like wrestles with us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then that's what Jacob is now referred to as the one who literally struggles and wrestles with God. In order to do that, you got to be pretty close to God.
Yeah.
Number 2, Simon. Simon means the one who hears. And then Peter, rock. Found, dude, when you think of that, it's like, bro. So when you think of rock, it's like, bro, that is unmovable. Like it's not being uprooted.
Yeah.
And then we have Abram. Abram means exalted father in Hebrew. Abraham means father of the multitude. And so it's like, why is this important? Church, a building for public Christian worship. Ekklesia, a calling out, a called out assembly of citizen, the community of the redeemed Christ, whether being on earth or in heaven or both. Yeah. Your name. What does your name mean?
Yeah.
Or what do you think that you are?
Yeah.
And then here we go. What does God say you are? Galatians 4:7. You're no longer a slave, but a son. And since you are a son, God made you also an heir through Christ. Well, dude, I'm gonna start crying. Romans 8:17. And if we're children, then we are heirs, and heirs of God and joint heirs with Christ. If indeed we share in his sufferings, in order that we also may share in his glory.
Yeah.
Again, what are you saying about yourself? And this is why it's so important. Because it's like the church and the comparison to Ekklesia is so powerful, but you might have let the enemy say things about your life and say that's true about who I am, when the reality, God says you're no longer a slave.
Yeah.
And not only are you're not a slave, you're a son. And if you're a son, it means you're an heir in my kingdom. Powerful.
Yeah.
So, you know what's funny is like when you think of your name or your identity, there might be something in your past that you go, man, that's who I am.
Yeah.
And God goes, no. And again, you can just look at through all these people throughout history, especially Peter. And I love bringing that up because think about it. Peter denied Christ when he was at his lowest moment, when Jesus was literally at the cross.
Yeah.
That's when he ran away.
Right.
And what does God do? He comes back to him. You know what's funny is like Peter, like of course he runs to the tomb, but he still goes back to what he's doing, fishing. He doesn't think of the condemnation he's thinking about himself.
Right.
And God's like, this is who I've called you to be.
Mm-hmm. Still calls him Peter.
It doesn't call him Simon.
Right.
So that's just the point. Don't speak death over yourself.
Yeah.
Speak life over yourself. And that's all I got. That's all I just wanted to say. So there you have it, Blake.
Yeah.
That was some fire stuff, dude.
That was good.
Yeah, fire stuff. But yeah, all I just want to end there is just it's important on how God, I guess not God, but how we reference church and what God's called it to be.
Yeah.
Do that the same also, though, with your name.
Yeah.
God's called you to be something. Don't let the world decide who you are.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's laid it out of who you are and what you're a part of, what your new identity is.
Yeah.
And what authority comes with that new identity. Just talking back about what he said of like, don't rejoice that the spirits are subject to you. Rejoice that your name is written in heaven. Yeah. For them, they understand that when my name is written in heaven, that means I'm a citizen of that place.
That's right, dude.
And because I'm a citizen of that place, there are rights and authority and responsibility that I have as a citizen of that place.
That's right.
As a representative of that place here.
Mm-hmm. And look at it this way too. It's like when you're part of that body and the body of Christ, it's like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying like the Justice League thing, the Avengers, it's like, bro, God's called us like, not to be superheroes. That's so dumb, but it's like,
to an extent.
But I guess to an extent where it's like, you think about them where it's like, they show up every day, the Justice League, the Avengers.
The Jedi, they show up every day.
But what are they doing?
Yeah.
They're going into areas that are just rampant with evil to bring hope and justice and life.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what we're called to do. There's areas, maybe it's in your life, in your family, maybe it is a government, maybe you are in government.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the beauty is God's given you authority to bring his life. And like you said, it's his glory. It's from his glory. It's not us. Like we were reading in Romans 5. It's because God has made us now part of that.
Yep.
That's our identity. That's why I love Romans 5. Because like we say this a lot too. It's like we're sinners. Nope.
Right.
And it's like, how can you say that? Romans 5. He literally says, I'm righteous. Not because of what I've done.
Right.
Because Jesus paid it all. If he conquered sin and death, it means I'm not a sinner no more. Like you said, if I'm written in the book of life, it means I'm a son, a co-heir of Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
If you have a new identity, it means the old identity doesn't apply.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to get to is just like your old identity does not apply. Whatever God says, that's what applies.
Doesn't mean that there's not a path that you have to walk out.
Of course.
Doesn't mean that there's not righteousness that you have to exercise.
Yeah.
But it means even whenever you do screw up and you do have those moments where you fall back into that past, you understand that, no, I have this new identity and I have a new nature about myself that I get to walk in.
And there you have it.
And there you have it.
And there you have it. Like, that was awesome.
That was a great
That
episode.
was seriously just like, it was good because honestly, like I've heard of Ekklesia before, looked it up, but like it's just important, again, your words. And that's why I brought the Genesis thing too, where it's like, think about it. Lord spoke us into existence. So it's like, again, and that's why it's like, oh, church and Ekklesia is completely different.
Yeah.
It's not just a place where we get to worship God, which is great, but man, it's a place that goes and conquers ground that needs help.
Yeah.
Like you said, where it's like the salt in the earth. It's like there's areas they need Christ. They need help. And God, you know what's so crazy is like God could do without us.
Yeah.
If he wanted to, he could do without us. But he chooses us to do it.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
So Avengers Assemble. I had to.
So with all that said, like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram.
Yes. I hope that, again, like you said, I hope that just motivated you.
Yeah.
Not bring you down of like, man, I haven't done this. I haven't do that. No, look at it now just like, oh, I get to do this.
Yes.
I
get
to. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So.
Yeah.
But yes, there you have it.
And with all that said, always remember, never forget.
He calls you friend. Come on now. Avengers Assemble, baby.